You've been told reality is fixed, that the world is unyielding, that you are just a passenger. But what if that's a lie? What if the world you see is not the world as it is, but the world as you allow it to be right now? In this very moment, forces are shaping you, forces you cannot see, forces you've been taught to ignore. And yet, you can take hold of them, you can bend them, you can command them to obey you. This is not superstition. This is not wishful thinking. This is a choice. And before we begin, pause. Because this choice will demand more from you than you have ever given. It will require silence when others speak, strength when others collapse, detachment when the world pulls you in. If you're ready for that, if you are ready to stop letting your life be an accident, subscribe now. Like this video, because what you are about to hear will demand you return to it again and again. You've been warned. Picture yourself standing in the middle of an ancient hall. Stone columns rise like giants around you. The air is cold, heavy, with echoes of every decision you have ever made. In front of you, two doors. One marked control, one marked chaos. Most people never see the doors. They wander in circles, convinced there is no choice. But you see them now, and once you see, you cannot unsee. Control is not about dominating others. It's about mastering the battlefield within your own mind. Because every thought you allow, every image you dwell on, is a command to reality. Your mind is not a mirror, it's a blueprint, and the blueprint becomes the structure. Imagine a single drop of ink falling into a glass of water. Slowly, the color spreads until the entire glass is transformed. One thought, one belief can stain the whole of your life. You've been told your thoughts are private. They're not. They are architects. They build the bridges you will one day walk across. They dig the graves you will one day fall into. You can no longer afford to think carelessly. Every mental image must be chosen with precision. Every inner word must be deliberate. This is not paranoia. This is power. History remembers those who understood this truth. The generals who planned wars in absolute silence before a single sword was drawn. The inventors who saw machines in their minds before a single gear existed. The leaders who held a vision so unshakable that nations bent to meet it. They were not lucky. They were not chosen. They trained the mind until reality had no choice but to obey it. So I ask you, what vision do you hold? Is it clear enough to carve into stone? Or does it change with every passing mood, every fear, every opinion thrown at you? Detachment is not coldness. It is precision. It is the discipline to hold the image you choose. No matter how the world screams for your attention, when storms rise, the untrained mind is tossed like a leaf on water. But the mind in mastery becomes the storm. It does not react. It commands detachment. Means you can watch the chaos without becoming it. You can hear the noise without losing the silence inside you. And from that silence, decisions are made that no one else dares to make. There is a moment before every action when the world is still. It is so brief most never notice it, but it is there, a heartbeat between thought and movement. Between impulse and choice, that moment is your throne. That is where mastery lies. Train yourself to see it, to step into it, to claim it. The Stoics called it control of the self. Warriors called it readiness. Mystics called it alignment. Different names, same truth. Power is not the strength to move mountains. It is the discipline to move only when you decide. You've been conditioned to react instantly, to respond to every notification, every opinion, every provocation. But every reaction is a chain, a link binding you to someone else's command. What if you cut those chains? What if you slowed the world down until every choice was deliberate? You would not just change your life, you would change reality itself. Because reality is not just what happens to you, it is how you shape what happens. Imagine standing before a pool of still water. You drop a single stone. Ripples spread in perfect circles, touching everything. Your thoughts are the stone. Your actions are the ripples. Every silent belief you hold spreads into the unseen, affecting people and events you will never meet or witness. This is why mastery is not optional. If you do not choose your thoughts, someone else will, and they will choose them for their benefit, not yours. The mind left untrained is like a city with open gates. Anyone may enter, anyone may leave, and they will take whatever they want. You must close the gates. You must decide who enters. You must decide what remains. Guard your inner world like a fortress, because from it, every empire you will ever build will rise. Some will tell you this is exhausting, that constant vigilance is impossible. But exhaustion comes from living at the mercy of chaos, not for mastering it. Control is not a burden, it is liberation. It is the ability to walk through fire without being burned. This is where your training begins, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. Now that you have seen the doors, you know the choice, and the world you live in next will be built by the choice you make here. You stand at the threshold to pause before you control or surrender. Most will never take the first step. They will watch their own life as spectators and then wonder why nothing changes. But you have already crossed the line, because once the mind has tasted the idea of power, it will never be satisfied with weakness again. Close your eyes, breathe slowly, picture a single candle in the dark. Its flame does not flicker. It does not fear the shadows pressing against it. It burns, because that is its nature. This is your mind when trained, unshaken by the noise outside, untouched by the wind of other people's chaos. Every thought is a chosen flame. Every image of deliberate creation. Now open your eyes and look at your life. Does it burn with the light you chose, or with the fire others threw at you? Silence is your first weapon, not the silence of absence, but the silence of control. In silence, you hear what others miss, the small tremors before a storm, the quiet shifts in the air before change arrives. The untrained speak to fill the void. The master listens and moves at the exact moment that changes everything. History does not remember the loudest voices. It remembers the ones who knew when to speak a single word that shifted the fate of nations. Discipline is your second weapon, the kind that is invisible to the world. The discipline to think the same thought every morning until it becomes bone and blood. The discipline to refuse the images that weaken you. The discipline to act as though the vision is already real until it becomes real. This is where most fail. They confuse intensity for endurance. They burn brightly for a day, then fade when life pushes back. But mastery is not born in moments of passion. It is forged in the endless repetition of a chosen truth. Imagine an archer in the dead of night. He cannot see his target, but he has drawn the bow so many times. The motion is part of him. When the light comes, his aim is perfect without thought. This is how you must train your mind, so that in the chaos of life, you do not think, you act from mastery. Your third weapon is detachment. Not indifference, not apathy, but the refusal to let emotion decide the fate of your reality. The world will try to provoke you. It will whisper threats. It will shout insults. It will promise rewards. But detachment is the shield that keeps the vision untouchable. When others panic, you remain. When others chase distractions, you wait. When others kneel to circumstance, you rise above it. There's a law hidden in plain sight. You do not see reality as it is. You see it as you are. Change yourself, and the world you see will change with you. This is why the people can stand. In the same storm, one sees disaster, the other sees opportunity. Reality bends to the lens through which you look at it, and you alone choose the lens. Begin the training now. Choose one thought, just one, that embodies the life you demand. Repeat it silently as you walk, as you eat, as you work. Guard it, defend it. Let no opposing thought survive in its presence. Do this for one day without failure, and you will have done what most cannot in a lifetime. Picture a sculptor in front of a massive block of stone. The masterpiece is already inside. He does not create it from nothing. He removes what does not belong. This is your work. Your life is the stone. The vision is already within you. Your thoughts are the chisel. Remove everything that does not match the image you have chosen. Every doubt, every fear, every excuse. Cut them away without mercy. Do not expect applause. The crowd does not cheer for the man who leaves the safety of the village to climb the mountain. They cheer when he returns, and many will hope you fail, because your success will force them to face their own chains. Walk on anyway. The summit will not come to you. You must go to it. Every day you hold the vision. Every moment you refuse to surrender to chaos, you are bending reality toward you. It will resist at first. It will test you. It will make you wait, and then, without warning, it will yield. You've been told that reality is external, that it moves on without you, that your thoughts are like clouds passing, harmless, powerless. That is the first lie. Every civilization that endured knew a different truth. That thought is the seed. That belief is the soil. That action is the rain. And that reality is the harvest. In the quiet rooms of forgotten temples, scraps carved words into stone, as within, so without. They knew that the outer world is nothing more than the inner world projected. A thought repeated becomes a belief. A belief held becomes a filter, And a filter shapes what you notice and what you ignore. What you notice grows. What you ignore dies. This is not magic. This is the architecture of your mind. Science now confirms what the ancients whispered. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It is clay malleable, obedient to the images you feed it. Neurons rewired to match your most repeated thoughts. Synapses strengthen around the patterns you choose. Like a river carving stone, your mind shapes itself to the path you walk most often. And once that path is deep enough, it becomes reality's default route. Imagine a garden. The soil accepts any seed, without judgment. Plant weeds, they will grow. Plant fruit, they will grow. The soil does not decide. You do that your mind is that soil. It will grow whatever you plant. Doubt or discipline, fear or faith, chaos or control, the harvest will always match the seed. History offers proof. A man once sat in a prison cell for decades and emerged to lead a nation toward freedom because in his mind, he had never been in prison. Another stood in the ruins of a fallen empire and built a vision of a new world that outlived him. These were not accidents. They were architects of reality, building in silence long before the world saw the structures they imagined. You may think you are powerless against what you see on the news, what others say about you, what the economy, politics, or fate decides. But understand this, the outer storm will always seek to shape the inner. If you let it, the storm wins. If you refuse it, the storm becomes irrelevant. This is why the masters of history looked unshakable. They were not made of stone. They simply refused to let the outer world dictate the inner one. You want proof? Look at your own life. Think of a time you expected failure and met it. Think of a time you absolutely knew you would succeed, and you did. Your mind bet reality both times. The difference was the image you fed it. Now imagine waking tomorrow with a single image so powerful, so detailed, that your mind could not distinguish it from reality. You see it when you wake. You hold it as you walk. You defend it when the world tries to replace it. Do you understand what would happen? Reality would bend, not in a flash of magic, but in a relentless, invisible shift until the world matched the image you refuse to release. This is the way. Silence the noise. Choose the seed. Guard the soil. Repeat the image until it becomes bone and blood. And then act as though it were already true. Action locks the image into the physical world. Each choice is a declaration to reality. This is who I am. This is what exists. Reality has no choice but to align. But there is a cost. You cannot bend reality and cling to the old one. You cannot speak of mastery and live in reaction. You cannot demand transformation while protecting the habits that keep you small. The old must burn. The ashes must scatter. And in their place, the new will rise. This is your proof. Not the words you hear now, but the life you will live when you test them. Because truth, once acted on, does not need belief. It becomes self-evident. You have seen the doors. You have touched the proof. Now the question remains, will you step through or turn away? The easiest path is always retreat. To close this video and return to the noise, to let the next hour erase what you have felt. Hear, but understand this, you will never unhear these words. You will never again be innocent of your own power. From this moment on, every choice will either honor it or betray it. Picture your life 5 years from now if nothing changes. The same patterns, the same limits, the same invisible walls you have learned to decorate instead of destroy. Now picture a different future, one where every thought is chosen, every image guarded, every action a weapon in the shaping of your world. Which future feels heavier? Which one would you die regretting? The clock is ticking, not the clock on the wall, the clock in your blood. Every heartbeat is a step toward the life you are building, or the one you are wasting. The world will try to distract you with the trivial, to seduce you with comfort, to drown you in the safety of the familiar. But comfort is the coffin of power, and safety is the grave of greatness. There is no perfect moment to begin. The mind that waits for ideal conditions will wait until the end of its days. You begin now, in the noise, in the chaos, in the storm, because if you can command the mind here, you can command it anywhere. You must become unshakable, not because the world will spare you, but because it will not. Storms will come, loss will come, betrayal will come, but when the mind is mastered, these are not endings. They are raw material, clay for the hands of the architect you have chosen to be. Imagine standing on a battlefield at dawn. The air is heavy with silence before the clash. All around you, others are trembling, waiting for someone to move. You take one step forward, not because you do not feel fear, but because fear does not decide for you. That step is the first blow against the reality that once held you prisoner. Do not expect the world to reward you instantly. Reality bends slowly, then all at once. You will walk through weeks, months, maybe years of resistance. But if you refuse to surrender the image, there will come a day when everything shifts, and in that moment, you will see it was never the world that changed. It was you. The greatest danger is not failure. It is the quiet slide into a life you never wanted without ever making the choice to live it. Refuse that life. Tear it down if you must. Better to rebuild it. Truth than to thrive in a lie. Remember the 3 weapons: silence, discipline, detachment. Sharpen them daily. They will be your armor and your sword. And when the world comes for your vision, you will be ready. This is where we end and where you begin. You hold in your hands the blueprint of a reality no one else can see. It is yours to guard, yours to build, yours to live out, bend the world. Do not wait for permission. Do not ask for agreement. Do not fear the resistance, because the moment you decide, truly decide, the bending has already begun.